Hello, everyone. Now you should feel a little comfortable with Visual Studio, and hopefully you had an opportunity to create your very first programs. I congratulate you on that. Sometimes that's always a big thing, so you're off and running. So that's a good thing. Um, Hopefully you were able to look at the outcomes from last week and you're able to manage to do each and every one of them. If you were not, you need to contact your instructor because we're going to be moving on now. What are we moving on to? Well, what you did last week was basically build your interface, which was great, at least initially. And then you also did a little bit of coding in regards to interfacing with your code with the actual interface by changing the contents of a label. So that's great. That's great. Now what we want to do is actually get into the beginning of hardcore programming, I should say. What do I mean by that? Well, again, what a programmer does is it takes input, it processes that input, and then it shows the output, displays the output in some way. That processing can take on tons and tons of different forms. It can be a few lines of code to several thousands of lines of code. I've seen it all. And again, in this course, you're going to be shocked at how many lines of code you actually write in the processing as we continue on with the course. We're not going to have you do thousands of lines this week, but we're going to get you started. And so we have to methodically walk through how to teach you how to program, and that's what this is all about. When you're given a program, or you're given a problem, I should say, that's what you're going to be solving for. Again, we're problem solvers. So each of your assignments will be a unique problem, meaning they want you to do something. And what you need to be able to do is take that problem and break it down. I always get asked, where do I start with this? How do I start breaking down a problem? How does this all work? What you will find out from me is that I want you to do two different things here. Number one, given a problem, I want you to design a solution. I want you to think it through. I want you to come up with the actual solution for it, logical solution for it. Once you're complete with that, you will then take that solution and then you will go program it. Why do I want you to do these two steps? Because I want you to spend more time on your assignments. No, that's not true at all. I think I have found over the years, and I have been proven to over the years, that doing it this way does two things. Ensures that your outcomes, your problem works. It works correctly. More than likely, it will work correctly the first time. And it will actually take you less time to complete your overall assignments if you follow my lead on this and actually follow the steps that I'm going to show you. This document, Design and Programming Checklist, is out there under this week's contents. I recommend that you grab it. It has 3 different sections on it, and we're going to be reviewing these sections in other videos, so I'm not going to read every one of them to you. But the one main section is how to design your program. This tells you how to start given a problem. Where do I start with all this? And we will walk through how to do that in the next video. We'll start at the beginning of that. We walk all the way through these steps. Our goal is to walk through these steps and then program the solution. You'll see what I mean by that. We'll get into this whole concept this week about variables, and we'll talk about the different types of variables you could actually have. There's inputs, outputs, and subtotals. We'll talk about that a little bit more in future videos this week, and so you'll know all about that. And finally, when we write our program, I'm going to talk to you about the different sections that should now be in your program, and those are those 4 right there. So this document, to me, is a very important document. Once again, you will be tested on this document. So I want you to actually understand it, and I want you to practice it. And I promise if you do, your assignments will be much easier for you, number one. And number 2, they'll work. And I think you're going to become a better programmer much more quickly if you do. It's really easy to bypass all of this and just do it the way you think you know it, or the way books tell you, or your friends tell you, and so on. There's a method for my madness on my approach here, so I want you to follow it. Again, our courses build on each other. That's why I want you to follow our methodology in developing this, okay? And so even though some of the problems you're going to be practicing this with are relatively simple, use that opportunity to practice the methodology in doing so, okay? Methodology meaning a way of doing something, okay? And so if you do that, once things get more difficult, you'll be able to apply it and know what you're doing methodology-wise to be able to solve more complex problems as they come down the road. Does that make sense? All right. So anyway, grab this paper, make sure you have it handy, either on your computer or print it off or whatever, and then meet me in the next video.